Have you been wanting to start a business for some time now? You've thought about it, you've slept on it, you've dreamt about it, but you're still unsure how to start? I've got you covered. This channel we discuss all things small business related, how to start a business, tips for growing your business, behind the scenes of how we run our business. And in the last almost 5 years, we've generated 7 figures in sales. I'll be sharing the steps that you need in order to start your business and grow your business from home and from scratch. If this is the kind of content you like, do well to subscribe. Now let's get into it. So I'll be breaking down this video into 3 steps: before you start, when you start, and after you go live. Before you start, this is also the preparation stage. This is where you want to be thinking of, what problems do I want to solve? What gap is in the market? What things do I want to do differently? Because like when I started my brand, it was when African print clothing wasn't as it is now. So I saw there was a gap in the market for people that loved vibrant clothes and for people that loved African prints, and decided to start the business and go all in on it. So you have to be thinking of what gap is in the market, what are you solving the problem to, because you need to know who your target audience is. You also need to know, is it going to be a digital product or is it going to be a physical product, because those require different starting capital or different ways of starting. You also need to ask yourself, if it's a physical product, do I have the space to be able to run this product? Does it require upfront cost? Because if most physical products would require upfront cost, but if it's a digital product, then obviously it's a bit different, because you're just creating the designs and putting it on a platform that people can buy from. So yeah, if it's physical, digital, you need to be thinking about that, the space to run it. Do I need capital to run it? And if I need capital, how much do I have, or how much have I saved? Because when you're starting a business, or when you're thinking of starting a business, I know sometimes online people tend to say, oh, just quit your job, you figure it out after. That's fine, but I'm of the school of opinion that if you want to start a business, especially if it's a product-based business, and especially if you've not run a business before, I would say have some money saved before you decide to go all in. Because when you have money, you tend to have options. You're not building the business based on, I have to make something quickly. There's more thought process into it. There's more planning that goes into it. There's more execution options that go into it. The thing you want to be thinking about it is, are you going to be starting it as a side hustle, or are you going to be starting it full time? This is kind of in line with the points I've just mentioned, like quitting and going all in. So when I started my brand, I started as a side hustle. It wasn't even a hustle, it was just something I just liked to do. So that's something you want to be thinking about. I had a full-time steady income coming in, and I was also saving for, in case I decide to go all in on this, what's my plan B? So it's nice to be able to have maybe like 3 to 6 months finance or backup option in place, just in case. Because I know sometimes the internet makes it look like if you start a business today, you're going to be making so much money by tomorrow night. It doesn't always happen all the time, and most times even businesses that make quite a lot of money quite quickly, sometimes they just have like really quiet moments, and if you're not saving in that time frame, you're literally like screwed.com. So you need to be able to have like backup options. In the next 3 to 6 months, if the business has not picked up, do I have something to fall back on? Do I have the necessary skills if I need to go back into paid employment? You need to be able to think about this very critically. I know life is, you only live once, but you need to be able to live and survive, and you don't want to get stressed or depressed in the process of starting a business. As long as, I think the main aim is, we want to be able to make money, either in our full-time roles or in our entrepreneurial life, even though the later is a nicer option because you have more flexibility with your time. But the main common denominator is, we want to be able to make money and be happy while we're doing it. Because if you're working a full-time 9 to 5 role and you're quite happy with that, and it's giving you all the money to live the kind of lifestyle you want, by all means, you don't need to jump on the entrepreneurial lifestyle. And if you're doing an entrepreneurial journey that is not giving you the fulfillment you need, you know what to do. So yeah, you need to be mentally ready to know that this is something you want to do, and you want to go all in, and all, like, you have to be fully prepared spiritually, emotionally, physically, and everything else for this journey, because entrepreneurship life would really test you. So that's something you need to be ready and to be prepared. The other thing, you need to be able to have enough time to be consistent on this journey, because it's not one and done. You have to consistently keep building it. You have to consistently keep promoting it. You have to consistently keep putting products out there, unless you're doing like a one digital product and you just leave it there to keep running, which would not usually sustain your lifestyle. But if that's a side hustle, then that by all means, that's fine. But if this is something you want to build as a full-time income, you want to be able to be consistently growing it. So a lot of time is going to be involved, a lot of resources is going to be involved, and you need to be ready for that journey. Next thing you also want to be thinking about this is, after you've determined if it's physical or if it's a physical product or if it's a digital product. Now for physical product, you want to be thinking about, where will I be manufacturing this product? Would I be making it myself, or would I get someone else to make it? If I'm getting someone else to make it, where would it be coming from? What country would it be shipping from? How much is the shipping fee? And how long would it take from the manufacturing process to when it gets to me? And what is the cost involved? Because all of this cost, especially for like samples and when the production is actually done, you want to be able to calculate this cost and know how you'd be able to do the total cost of each item when you now decide to go live. So those are some of the. Then if you're making it, you want to be thinking of, how long would it take to make an item? How much items can I make? Where will I be sourcing the material I'm going to be using to be making this item? Is this something I can do by myself? Would I need to get somebody to be able to be doing this for me? How much time will it take? Because there's some products you get into making and it literally takes off your whole life. And if the cost of the item or the cost of making it is not very feasible, after a long time or after a long run of doing it, you're going to get really stressed. So those are some of the things you need to be thinking about when you start. Then the one more thing I need to mention for if you're sourcing the product from a different country, if someone else is making it for you, you need to be thinking of two major things. Are they easy to communicate with? Because they're manufacturers that you can't really easily reach them. Also, what's the time gap in between like the country you're living in and the country you're ordering from? Is this something you'll be able to message them and they answer you? Is there like any language barrier? Because if you cannot communicate effectively for them to understand what you want, or what's the point? Because getting your product to live is going to be really hard. Then when you're making the product, if there are like issues with the samples, or if there's issues with the batch or with production, how are you going to resolve it? Is there like going to be like a refund? If you're shipping it back to them, who is responsible for the cost? Because most times you find out when you're doing like product-based business and they're doing like production, the times where you're gonna have like a bad batch, or a batch where like you ship something and it doesn't arrive. How do you try to get this solved? Like, what systems they have in place? Are you the only like business they are working for? Do they have like terms and conditions? They have like some of these things in place, because you need to be able to get that sorted before you jump into it, because you don't want to start and then the manufacturer is a nightmare. Your business is literally gone overnight if you cannot work with the manufacturer you're getting on. It's also nice to have like multiple people on, because if one person is not delivering or doing what you want them to do, you can always move to the next person and know that you always have two options. Options is always necessary when you're doing a business. You cannot do one thing. You can't deal with one supplier. You can't deal with one, like just that business and that's it. You need to be able to have other things coming in, because then you have peace of mind. It gives you options. It's just less burden for you to be worrying about. So yeah, that's something very critical that you need to be thinking about, especially in the manufacturing setting. Then the next thing you need to be thinking about is, where would you be selling the product? So there's so many platforms that you can sell on. If it's handmade, you want to be thinking about, am I selling on Etsy? Am I selling on Amazon? Am I selling on eBay? These are all third-party platforms. There's also one, Afrique, and it's mostly for like African prints or African clothing and stuff. And then if you're not not selling on these platforms, you want to open your website. If you're opening your website, how do you plan to drive traffic to your website? Because that is the major thing. If you've got a good product and nobody know you exist, what's the point? Like, really, what's the point? So yeah, you want to be thinking about where are you. You can always start with multiple platforms. So you can start open an Etsy store, because people that come in on Etsy are actually coming to look for a product to buy. Etsy brings in its own traffic, so it's much easier for you to be able to find someone to buy from you on Etsy when you're just starting. And then you can use that to build social proof. You can use that to see how you can improve on the business, or if there's something you need to be doing, and after which you can decide to go open your website, because Etsy fees can be ridiculously very high. So you can decide to go open your website. And when you open your website, how are you driving the traffic? There's so many ways to be doing this. You can do it organically, posting on all your social media platforms, talking about it with people, going for events, doing pop-up store, doing markets. So many ways to be able to get people to know and to see and to trust your products. If you have a website that you want people to be able to come to. The other option is if you're doing it paid. So either you're gifting products to influencers, or you're paying influencers to wear your product and talk about it, or you're running paid ads. Those are all options you can use to drive traffic to your website, and those are things you want to be thinking about. How do I make this work? But don't think about this too much, because you have other things to worry about. But I'll say first things first, before the product goes live, you know you're going to launch this product, open the social media platforms. Just start posting about things, even if the product is not ready or you don't have samples. Just get that social media page going, so people kind of are already like engaged. You're building a community. Maybe you're sharing your steps or process to building this business. Like, literally show how you are doing every step and every stage of building and running this business. That's something you want to be able to start doing before you even get the product in. Like, I think this is a very crucial, necessary step that people tend to miss or people tend to ignore. Another thing you need to be thinking about is, with the cost of running paid ads, you also need to know how much it's going to cost, at least for the first few months, and how you intend to get the money or make the money back, just in case nothing happens or the business doesn't move as quickly as you want it to move. You also need to determine who your target audience is. Who do you want to be selling to? When I first started, so what I said was, I want to be able to sell to people that love African print or love the vibrancy of African print, and also people in diaspora that want something that feels like home, that is close to home, like just wearing African print, and it's easily accessible, is affordable, is good quality, and all of that. So those are the people I was thinking about as my audience when I launched or when I started. So those are things you want to be thinking about. If you're doing a eyelash business, or if you're doing a makeup business, like, you need to be thinking about what my target audience, people that love makeup, people that love beauty and all of that. How do I find them? Where do I find them? Then the next thing you need to be thinking about as a product-based business is, how am I shipping? Am I only doing it locally, or am I doing it internationally as well? I think obviously for when you first start, you would want to test the market in just within the country you're based in, because then you're able to get feedback, you're able to do the necessary improvements that you need and all of that. And then after a while you can start doing it internationally. And so like in the UK, there are platforms like Royal Mail. You can get onto their portal, sign up, get a scale from Amazon, and then weigh the items. You see how much it will cost. That way you can put it on your website, so customers are responsible for the shipping cost. So you can either make the shipping cost separate, or you can add the shipping cost to the cost of the item. So it looks like the shipping cost is free, but you've added the shipping cost to the cost of the item. So those are two different ways you can think about it. Even international shipping as well. If it's a country that has customs fees, who is paying for the customs fees? Is it you or is the customer? Most times the customer should usually be responsible for paying for the customs fees. Or you can add it to the cost of shipping, so that way it's not looking too much and doesn't look like they're paying multiple things. So those are things you want to be thinking about in the shipping. Also for packaging, how do you want to do your packaging? Are you doing like custom bags, or are you doing just normal UPS bags, which is something you might want to be thinking about when you first start, especially if you're on a limited budget. You go on UPS and get some of their mailing bags, poly mailer bags. You can also get from Amazon or just any shipping supply store close to where you live. There's so many options. If you do not want to start with branding or customizing your bags or giving it like luxury, which you can always do like later on, just make sure you're starting a business. Don't let like very minute things stop you from going all in or like putting in as much effort as you need to put in the right places. Then the next thing you want to be thinking about is setting the business up. I'm guessing by now you already know what name you want to use for the business, but if you're not sure, you can always go on Google just to double check that that business is not already in use, is not trademarked, and it is free for you to use. Also check that there is a website that you can use with that business name, and that you've created the social media platform that you've created is the same across all social platforms, because then it's easy to find you. It's just consistency across the board. So yes, search for the business name, get a domain name, get a website, get an email address as well, so it's easy for people to contact you. Your email, your website is easy for you to get leads, get people's emails so you can remarket to them, or you can just let them know about the process of you starting the business, you launching, when the product decides to go live and all of that. Like literally get people in on how you're starting the business and how you're growing it. Logo you want to use for the business, this is not really set on stone. You can change it as multiple times as you want. When we first started, the logo we used, it was just a brand name that was a logo, and then we did something else that had like a mannequin and stuff on, and now this is our new logo. So logos are going to change. So there's some things that is not going to be really like this is it and you can't change it again. No, even the brand name, you can always decide to change it after. A lot of brands tend to change their names after. The main thing I want you to be able to think about is, how do I start this brand as quickly as possible? Good products, good quality, building good community base, and get it going as quickly as I can, because there are people that think so much about the process. They think about how they are thinking about what they will do. That's not what you want to be doing. You don't want to sit on the thoughts or the dream for too long. You want to be able to put it into full swing. The thing with the logo is you can go on Fiverr and you can find someone to design your logo for you. If you're not very good with designing logo, you do not also want to copy anything else that somebody else is doing. Obviously you can get inspiration from people and just see what they're doing and how you can make your own better. Copying is a big no-no. I know a lot of people tend to just easily like copy and paste and not even give any effort or thought into what they're doing, but I would say that's a huge massive no. So yeah, after doing all of this process, this is the pre-launch stage. You've gotten things sorted, you've registered. You can decide to register the business now or just leave it for a few months before you register, and so you know if this is actually something you want to do or if this is something you're not interested in doing. So yeah, when you finish this whole preparation stage, now it's time to start. This is the most important step. Start. Don't prepare for too long. Start. You can always make changes after. Start. It doesn't have to be perfect before you go live. Start. Don't delay this process. Just start the business. Take action. If it's a product-based business, you don't want to start with too many things at once. This is one of the mistakes I made when I first started. I had so many products that went live and so many different sizes. But after a while of running a business, you would know that you do not need too many products. You can start with 1 to 3 solid items, like really good items that will knock everything else out of the park. Focus on it, like talk about it so much until you know you have done all you need to do in talking about that item or that product. 3 home run ideas and go all in on it. And then for sizes, you don't want to get like too many sizes at once. So when I say too many sizes, you don't want to get like 6 extra small, 6 small, 6, like you could do like 1 or 2 of each of those. So you see which size does very well, and then you can increase the quantity of those sizes. So like when I first started, we had UK 4 to UK 22. how many people are UK for? So now we've had to like work towards scrapping a lot of our UK4, and a lot of those UK4 we had to like adjust it, amend it so it fits like a UK8 or a UK10, like just really like switch it up. So we know our UK4, it doesn't really go as much, and we know our UK6 doesn't even really go as much. So now we're moving to where we're just doing UK8 to UK22, and maybe add 24 on, because we've got a lot of people asking, oh, do you have 24, 26? So we know that there are a lot more bigger sizes, especially in the African black body shapes, Caribbean body shapes. They're a lot more bigger size, they're more like curvy shapes than a UK4. UK4 can be like a child size. So yeah, those are things you want to be thinking about, what quantity you're starting with, and then double down on the sizes that are doing very well, or double down on the styles that are doing very well. So that's why you want to like start with small batch, see what does well, and then even when you're adding more things on, maybe you're adding like one more style or two more styles, but never too much at once, because how do you market everything at the same time? How do people know which one to focus on? When they have too much options, they get really confused. So the more the less style and the more focus you have on those styles, it makes it go really, really well. One mistake you don't want to do is have cash sat in inventory, which is what I had a lot of and what I still have till now. So what I'm doing now for the next few months, I think for the next 6 months, we're not going to be releasing any new collection. I want a lot of our old products to be completely removed. We also have like a room full of fabrics that we haven't used. Those are all cash sat in inventory, and what we need in a business is cash flow. Those are things you want to be thinking about. You don't want too many things. Limited quantity, limited drops, and people know that when it's gone, it's gone. Even if you want to restock it, they know that what you're doing is limited pieces and limited variations and limited everything. So that way there's urgency to actually buy the item. So those are things you want to be thinking of, and those are things I'm actually thinking about now. Even though it's been like almost 5 years of running this business, there's going to be a lot of mistakes you're going to make, and do not be scared to make mistakes, because it's life. You're going to leave, you're going to learn. Don't be scared to make that mistake. Just make sure you're making the mistakes and making changes as quickly as you can. Don't sit and nurse that mistake you've made. Before you actually go live, the samples that your manufacturer or you yourself has created, you can take pictures or take content for it to record the process of you creating the product from start to finish. Don't miss out on any step. Make sure you're carrying people along, because most times people are actually invested in seeing how founders are starting their business. There's a lot of talk about founder-led business, about telling your story. So those are things you want to really capitalize on, so that way you're creating or you're building a cult following. People want to see, oh, what's she doing next, so what's the next step? And that way, even at some point you want to like be able to teach people how to start businesses or how to grow their businesses. Those are things you'd be able to do, because then you already have receipts to show that you've done something like that. So yeah, take people along your journey, take people along what you're doing, how you're starting the business, how you're building it, how you're growing it, how you're sourcing fabrics, how you're creating the styles, how you're doing photo shoots, how you're creating content. Those are all really, really good content that would be so nice to post on all your social platforms. And the next thing you want to be doing at this stage is also setting up your shop. If you decide to go the third-party platform route, or if you decide to go on your website route, create a website, all the product images you've taken, get it on there. It will also be nice to have like video of it, so people can see the movement, people can see how it's used, people can see the flow, because having videos always, it gives it a better edge than if it's just pictures. So those are things you want to be able to put on your website or whatever platform you decide to use. You also want to be thinking of your store policies. So how, if they want to return the item, how do they return it? If an item is damaged, what do you do about it? If they want to exchange an item, so all of these policies needs to be in place. How quickly it's going to get shipped, the preparation time before the item gets shipped. If there is someone in your space or your niche that you quite like what they're doing, you can just go on their website and see what they're doing and how you can implement some of the ideas they have. The idea here is not to copy anything, but just to get inspiration from what people are doing, because that will help you build a better brand, or help you grow your brand, or help you launch that business you're trying to do. Yeah, so get inspirations from like other people, see all the store policies or shop policies or return policies that you need to have in place, because that is so essential when you're getting your website on. Because if a customer comes back tomorrow to say, oh, something, you already have something in place to give to them. Also getting your size chart. If it's like clothing, get the size chart so people know how the sizing matches with your product, because not all sites or not all business have the same exact size chart. There's always like an inch or 2 inches bigger, but then when you have a size chart on your site, people know what to expect and how it's going to look on them. And then the main thing is how you cost your item. I think this is like a major thing that people don't always think about. You want to be able to factor in cost of manufacturing, cost of the shipping products, the cost of all the overheads that you've incurred in creating that product. All that needs to be factored in. You can also check like your competitors to see how much other people are charging, and then just get like a nice average that you can use when you're just starting. When you get your brand to a place where the brand is a big household name, you don't need competitors' price. You can price your item how you want, because you know the brand name is already going to sell itself. Why would a bottle of water be £1 in the store, £10 in an airport lounge, and £20 on a plane? It's just where it's placed and how the product has been branded or styled and all of that. So major thing, you need to be thinking of how you want to price your product, because if it's too low, it doesn't look very trustworthy, and then you're running at a loss. How do you want to let that business look after you? If it's too high, it's like, are you even being serious? And lastly, website you're building on needs to be able to be easy to navigate. It needs to be easy for people to get on, people to order from. And when you go live, have like a launch date and build up momentum for when your product goes live, so people have something to look forward to. And then when the day you decide to go live, you can even like go live on social media to announce you're going live, and then just record the process. Everything when you're building a business is content. You have to create that content, whether you want to or not. You have to create that content, especially like if you're a small business or if you're a founder-led business. Create the content, let people come in on the journey with you. It just helps to build that community base. It just helps to build a brand a lot better than you would even think. So yeah, get people on. When the product goes live and people have ordered, get them to give you feedback. So make sure you have a system that will send them emails to say, leave us a review so we can see how you're doing. You can even like tip in discount to say you can get X amount off if you order from us. Something like that. You want to be able to get feedback, because this can be used as social proof to say this person liked our product. You would enjoy the product as well. If you do not like it, if you don't get it, you're going to be missing out. So those kind of vibes, that's something you want to be creating. And yeah, hopefully you've been able to pick up 1 or 2 things from this video, and you're able to implement it in starting your business journey or in growing your business journey, or for your next collection launch. So yeah, don't sit on that idea for too long. Take action. Don't just dream it, act it, grow it, and keep growing. If you've not subscribed, click the subscribe button, like this video. If you've got any questions, leave it in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care guys, bye.